actually, I read a comment from a witch that said she was, being in her power, and it was thundering and there was no rain. But players, they're only, they only love you when they're playing, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, it really, really is. But I wanted to start by saying, okay, putting your mind at rest, guys. I am not suggesting, okay, on any level that we shame the children, okay? I really, really am not. That's where it starts, okay? Obviously, it's, but at the same time, just gentle parenting doesn't work either. It has to be a balance. And really, honestly, for me, I found that the majority of my parenting really happened in my son's teenage years, because I came to know myself so well that I knew how to communicate with him, and it just made it easy, and I was able to say the things he needed me to say. Okay, I could hear him in the ways that he needed me to hear him, and that kind of thing. And I very much am a believer in, particularly for men, actually, particularly for boys, because I do believe that they have been damaged so, I'm not going to say, the word that's coming to me is irrefutable. I don't know whether that means beyond all recognition kind of thing, because I think that there is a place for healing, and in men as well. I really, really do. But, from what I've been talking about, and I actually did a kinesiology for humanity, guys, on the actual Cancer moon the other day on my Instagram, okay? And so I was talking about all of this, and I was talking about how shit, hang on, what was I talking about? Oh no, it's gone, guys. I was talking about, guys, I've lost it now. I really have. Right, okay, but I want to talk about, I was talking about the the way that the powers that be became this homosexual kind of faction where they basically destroy young men. But it's more than that. They forced men into their genitals and into being hyper sexualized. They're doing it with all the children now. Okay, that's what transgenderism is about. It's about hyper sexualizing them, whilst at the same time, because that is what is so fucked up about these weirdos. It's like they just, because that is the nature of evil. Okay, the nature of evil is that it wants you to feel unsatiable. Okay, it's a feeling of, which is why we've all been kind of conditioned into this. We've very much been conditioned, particularly since our teenage years, into getting ourselves into a situation of irreconcilable, no, is that what it's called? I can't remember what it's actually called, but where no, because that's irreconcilable differences, okay? But it's when you are attracted to someone that you know that you're never either going to be in a relationship with, or if you do get into a relationship with, you know that they aren't right for you. You know that they're dangerous, okay? But we've actually been forced, okay, into feeling like that, where we actually are more attracted to the people that are bad for us. We are attracted to the people that are narcissistic, because they are only narcissistic because they've come to realize it's a coping mechanism, and it's in withholding love, okay, they get attention, okay? So, so they'll remove themselves in order to get you to be grasping like this, like, oh, come back to me, kind of thing. It's all very sick. It really, really is. It has to do with your physical health, okay? Because if your physical health is full of inflammation and parasites, okay, and perforation, okay, because that is absolutely what came up. And it isn't just the gut that gets perforated, it is the veins, it's the arteries, it's the brain, it's the bones, okay? You know, that's what calcification is. It's an eating away at the actual bones, okay? So it's porous, okay? It's osteoporosis, okay? So it's porous, and then it sort of calcifies with this, it recalcifies with a much more porous type of substance kind of thing to sort of slightly rebuild it, but actually it crumbles away very easily. So, you know, so your physical health, okay guys, is your mental health. I don't know how many more times I can say that to you, okay? And it is specific, it is precise. So all you need to do is fully acknowledge and give a voice, okay, to how you're feeling, how your body feels, okay, and then you're going to know how your mind feels. And then that's going to be easier for you to own your own ego and your own perception of reality, okay? So you need to own and you need to admit how your body actually feels, okay? And you'll get a clue about that relating to how your bowel feels, okay? But I actually wanted to come on here to talk about a couple of things that I had talked about in the last video, and the first one was about the shaming, okay? We don't shame children, you know. In fact, that, you know, there are a couple of beautiful African proverbs that state, the one says, you know, that the way to actually help a child to feel part of the community when they've acted out, okay, is to put them in the center of the village, okay, and remind them of all the good things they've done, okay? So that is the first step, really. That's the first step. We remind them of all the good things they've done as children. Oh, you know, when you've acted like, there's a poor old girl with a dodgy hip there. You know, is that, say, for instance, you've stolen something, okay? That is from your parents, you know. That I've known kids who have been completely shamed for that. And this is where we get it wrong. If you shame a child, they're going to become an adult that needs shaming, okay? But then by the point that they are an adult, we're like, don't make them feel bad, don't shame them, kind of thing. Don't, you know, let them feel okay in their addictions and dependencies and abilities to commit suicide, essentially killing themselves just by their lifestyle, okay? Don't shame them, don't make them feel bad, okay? Because the damage has already been done. So we don't shame children, okay? That's the number one thing we don't do. We make an effort to make the child feel like they are relevant and that they are part of the village, okay? They are an integral part of the way that the machine, okay, the village operates, and they have an integral role, okay? And then the other one is, if the youth of the village don't actually feel as if they're part of it, okay, then they will burn it down just to feel its warmth, okay? So that's where we go wrong. We overshame children, okay? They then don't feel like they're part of the village and that they are, that their gifts and talents are welcome in any way, okay? And then they want to burn it down as a result. Okay, they've also then, in particular through, since tribal times, okay, that's tribal times. It's much simpler, okay. But since we stopped living in tribes and we started living together in groups in larger towns and cities, okay, that's where this faction has come in and suppressed then men into their genitals, so that they are in this total kind of outward projection. It's an outward projection, continuously looking, using their antenna, okay, of that, which is their penis, as an, using their penis, I should say, as an antenna. It's like whenever it gets slightly activated, okay, then they're going to move towards the activation. But it isn't a true activation because they're so heavily, overly activated, okay, in their sexuality. And that then has traditionally, women will, and this is what's very unfortunate, is that, I've come now to the other side of having had that kind of thing happen in my life, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. I have actually come to realize that, you come into your 50s, true happiness, true love, okay, is very elusive. It is. It doesn't happen every day. And so, in a way, you do actually have to grab it with both hands if it and when it's being offered to you, okay? But at the same time, it is ugly when women are playing up to a man whose antenna is broken, basically, and has been destroyed through acts of, overt or covert even sexuality, okay? It could just be masturbating, and for women, unfortunately, it's use a dildo, okay, that's fine, use a dildo, but using a vibrator, okay, is one of the worst ways you could destroy your sexual subtle pleasure, okay, because you aren't, and I've tried it, guys, coming out my relationship and still feeling sort of slightly sexy, I thought, okay, I'm going to get one of these, I'm going to try it out, I'm going to see what it's all about, okay. It's all very well and good until you try and not use it, ladies, okay. You've actually numbed yourself to an extent that just isn't real. It's a bit like porn kind of thing. It's like, because you're so used to now, seeing things that, perhaps isn't a really healthy sexuality, okay. Now what would happen within the constructs of a normal, healthy sexual exploration simply isn't enough for you, and it doesn't turn you on, and so you're just going to have to go more and more violent, okay. And it will be in your mind at first, it will be in your fantasy, but it will, but that's the problem, you see. It destroys sexploration, okay, with another person. You've just damaged it because you've gone overtly into your head, okay, I'm afraid, and into your brain, right? So, but the women that lead on these men, it's very unfortunate for them, because the fact of the matter is, if a man leaves a woman or a woman leaves a man, okay, so it goes both ways, but it's happening more with women these days. In my day, it happened more with men, okay, so that's why that is much more what I talk about, because that is what I've experienced, okay. Is that women, and quite often they're your friends, this is what's the worst, obviously, but it's come to make me realise that actually, if I am given an opportunity for pleasure and for love that feels real, okay, in the moment, even if it doesn't have, longevity of the rest of my life, I'm going to take it, okay. But what I'm not going to take, and what I'm not going to receive, and what I'm not going to put up with, is a man that leaves his wife for me. No. Okay, because if he leaves her for you, right, then, or she leaves her husband for you, okay, or her partner, then she's going to leave you for somebody else. No. You leave your partner because you no longer want to be involved in that relationship. That's the first step. Okay, you've decided that it isn't working for you on whatever level you've decided it isn't working for you. Okay, you then need to go away and work out, why couldn't I make a relationship work? Okay, because ultimately we are the only thing that we can look at. So you then go away and say to yourself, what is it that I need to call in? Or what is it that I need to let go so that I can give the best of myself in a relationship, so that I can be with just one woman, at a time. Okay, it might not be one woman for the rest of your life. This is what we're learning, guys. It's that doesn't always happen. Okay, and it's actually more common that it doesn't happen anymore. I'm not saying that that's good, or that's, I love the idea of being in a relationship, and there's nothing that, for the rest of my life, and actually being married and things like that, there's nothing that turns me on more than a man that keeps coming back, but except now, if they've gone awry, then I'm not interested in them coming back. It's like, no, you've missed out. I'm sorry, that's over and done with. Okay, you missed out. It happened. I can, because of the nature of just being, a weakened empath, I can and I have let it go. And I can forgive once or twice, but it's when it goes too far that I don't forgive. And it's like, no, that's enough. It's just ugly now. And you've made yourself ugly. You've soiled your soul. Okay, that's what's happened. You've soiled your soul. And what's really ugly is the fact that your soul can't live with your own ego. And if you can't live with yourself, don't expect a woman or a man to live with you. Okay, don't expect anyone to be able to want to be with you. Okay, so that I have to make very clear. I'm not interested in a man leaving his partner for me. No. If he decides he wants to leave his partner, which is the norm these days, okay, or the woman might leave him, then that is what it is. And then that person, you are alone for a while to work out, where did I go wrong? Why couldn't I make this happen? And then it might be time to move on. Okay, but it's actually, and it's for those reasons. Okay, it's for those reasons. It's as in a relationship. Okay, it's parents with their children. Okay, it's family members. It's brothers and sisters and sisters. Brothers and brothers. It's friends. Okay, it's frenemies, and it's saying, you've betrayed me, okay, and maybe that person's denying it, right? We need to take it to the village, okay? We need to take it to the town. And I say, bring back the stocks. Bring back the stocks. If people haven't learned as a child, being, given, and this is a whole new way, but it's taking in some of the old school measures, okay, that I believe can help as a quick, short, sharp shock. And it just says, you want to fuck around, find out, okay? Be ashamed, be made to feel ashamed by the town's people and villagers, okay? And the likelihood is of you doing it again, okay, because you're going to get found out, is little to none. Okay, it really, really isn't. So, and actually, obviously, the worse the crime, the worse the things we throw at them, guys. People would love it. Okay, it is, and personally, I think it is a good thing to do. And maybe we do just throw words. We throw truths at them. But if you are supporting, let me just finish with this, okay? If you think that the old church that is the foundation of the old world order, okay, if you think on any level that it's coming into the new earth, right, well, let me just tell you guys, you're going to be staying with them, if that's the most important thing in your life, because no old structures are coming into the new earth. So neither will you be.